Hello, everyone. This is Scarlett Johnson, and I am here with Katie Gorka, and this is Moms for Liberty Unleashed. And today we're going to talk about some very important elections. There are some key races tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last day to vote. It is election day. The election season is finally over because it gets extended out quite a bit these days. And one state where there are a lot of elections, not just a few, not just a governor's race, lieutenant governor's race, AG race, but there are a lot of elections down ballot, which will determine the future of Virginia for several years. And I am joined by Katie Gorka, who is the chair of the Fairfax County GOP. She's also co-author of Next Gen Marxism, What It Is and How to Combat It. She served in many roles. She is a mother and she is wife to Sebastian Gorka. But today she is here to talk to us about something very personal to her because she lives in Virginia and she's fighting very hard for her state. So welcome, Katie. I'm so glad that you could join me today.
Hey, Scarlett. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Great. So what is your assessment of what's happening in Virginia right now? What are some of the key issues? I mean, we all, unless you've been living under a rock, know about some of the controversies like with Jay Jones, and Barack Obama has been campaigning now throughout the state of Virginia with him. I mean, you could discuss briefly the controversy there if people haven't heard it, but so what is going on the ground in Virginia? What are you seeing, and what gives you hope, and what kind of gives you some reservations?
Okay, so first, I think the broader context is really important, which is for reasons that I don't fully understand, the radical left has targeted Virginia in a big way. You can see this on various websites when they talk about when you look at like different NGOs, radical NGOs, and that are working on the vote, they have been going heavy on Virginia. And the main reason that I'm thinking that they do that is because Virginia has a lot of impact on what happens in Washington. So if the Democrats win this election, Washington, D.C. will be surrounded by Democrats. You have Maryland, you have the District of Columbia itself, and you might potentially have Virginia. So tons of money has poured into the state for these races. And I will just give you an example. The top race, the governor's race, the Democrat candidate, Abigail Spanberger, when I last looked, she had raised $53 million. To the Republican candidate, Winsome Sears, half that at $26 million. So first of all, it's an incredibly expensive race, but just a ton of money pouring in from out of state. So you talked about some of the controversy. It has been a very unexpectedly exciting and interesting election season, largely because of Jay Jones, the Democrat candidate for Attorney General. So the first scandal that came out was that it turned out that he had been caught a couple of years ago. He was ticketed actually arrested for driving 116 miles an hour. And then that scandal deepened when it turned out that not only was he speeding at that outrageous amount, but that the 500 hours of community service that he had been assigned, he served that time with his own PAC. So he kind of basically got out of it. And that is being pursued legally. But then what happened, and this is what really blew the election wide open, a fellow House of Delegate member, but a Republican, revealed some texts that Jay Jones had sent her a couple of years earlier, where he said just some outrageous things. He said that he would go to the funeral of some of his Republican House of Delegate mates just to piss on their graves. That was one. Then he also said, basically 2 bullets to the head for Todd Gilbert, who was at the time the Republican chair of the House of Delegates. And then Jay Jones also said, and I'd like to see Gilbert's children dead in the arms of their mother. So this just really outraged people throughout Virginia. And it's been very controversial, largely because none of his Democrat co-runners have asked him to step down as a result of these outrageous statements. And as Winsome Sears said to Abigail Spanberger, what's it going to take? What would it take for you to ask him to step down? Does he actually have to pull the trigger? I think that's a great question. And, so this is the problem. We have, a really radical lineup in Virginia at the top, certainly at the top three. And yet, even in spite of that, it's going to be a really close race, which just blows my mind. What are there things that give me hope? I would say, certainly above all, I think our candidates have just been so strong and so good. Not one of them was a slacker. Honestly, they have worked so unbelievably hard. And it's always interesting to watch candidates. Look, I think being a candidate is truly one of the hardest things you can do. You have to work so hard. It's 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You're having to ask everybody you know for money. And a lot of people kind of collapse or wither under that pressure. But all three of our statewide candidates just, if anything, they turned up the gas. They worked so hard. And I think largely because of how hard they've worked, they have made this a much narrower election than anybody expected. So, famously, Virginia is always this kind of bellwether because we always have the governor's race after a presidential year. And every year for I don't know how many decades, it's always gone to the opposite party. It's like we're kind of doomed to lose this one. But it really has turned out to be quite close. So I think tomorrow's going to be a super interesting day.
Yeah, the polls have gotten a lot closer, particularly since this controversy with Jay Jones and the debate in which Abigail Spanberger refused to answer the questions and just sort of stood there. Basically all she had to do was condemn these awful things that were texted and said, but she wouldn't do it. There's another huge controversy. Restoration News, along with Corey DeAngelis, revealed just last week, and it's spilling over into this week, that the Portsmouth Public Schools in Virginia let Abigail's campaign hold a campaign rally at school during work hours. And there are receipts online that show that they paid zero. They paid $0. That makes it an in-kind donation. And if true, a class 4 felony. And there's a lot of details I know on your social media, and I will put that up where to follow you. But this is just horrifying. And as Moms for Liberty, we really concern ourselves with what's happening in schools and K through 12 education and with parental rights. And another issue in which the Democrat candidates fall flat are protecting girls, girls' sports, the private spaces of girls, despite the fact that the Trump administration has come in and the Department of Justice and the Office of Civil Rights, they simply refuse. They refuse to follow Title IX and Trump's executive orders. And they are holding firm that they are going to allow boys into girls' spaces. And even there was a huge controversy where boys were being recorded, and just because they wondered aloud, why is a girl changing with us in our locker room? And those boys were being punished. They were the ones being punished simply because while being secretly recorded, they were wondering, why is a girl in here?
No, and I'm so glad you bring up this story, but look, you make an incredibly good point. All these crazy things are happening, whether it's the school, hosting a rally during school hours for Spanberger, whether it's the school in Loudoun, charging two boys with crimes, actually. And the third one, because he's Muslim, they let him off. But this is what I love about you and what you have done personally with your own court case. This is what I love about Moms for Liberty. The only way we are going to stop this kind of behavior is if we challenge it legally. And this is what's been happening. We have to expose it and we have to challenge it. And for example, I really want to give a shout out to somebody here. Well, we've had a couple of great people here in Northern Virginia. Sadly, we don't have a Moms for Liberty chapter in Fairfax County. I talk about this all the time. I want one. But we've had a couple of great people who've really done a good job of exposing things in the schools. So Azra Nomani is one. She just has followed these issues doggedly. And the other person who's been so great is Stephanie Lundquist Aurora. She's a mom of 3 boys. And she just really stays on top of the schools and she doesn't let them get away with it. She exposes it. And then we have other groups, I'm thinking particularly of like Ian Pryor and Patty Menders out in Loudoun County, who then actually went so far as to bring a court case against the schools. And it's the only way we're going to win. Look, but the thing that I've learned is politicians will just get away with as much as they can. And honestly, it doesn't seem to matter. Like, I look at this case with Jay Jones, and it's incredible to me that having said such outrageous things, he is still a candidate and he is still going to do relatively well. I don't think he'll win, but he will do pretty well despite that. And so in the world of politics, these things don't seem to matter, but it's when people break the law and we hold them accountable, that's what turns things around. And I'm so glad you brought up this picture because this was an incredible event. And yes, there's Ian Pryor on the far right, who I mentioned. And there's our candidate for governor, Winsome Reed, and our candidate for lieutenant governor, John Reed. This was such a great event a couple weeks ago that Moms for Liberty hosted in Fairfax. Thank you so much. It was a rally for parents, and it was just a great event.
It was a great event, and I just reposted it, so it's on X. So if you haven't watched it, particularly if you live in Virginia and you haven't voted yet, you're not sure who to vote for, please watch it. It's because you will hear from, there's several panelists, many of whom you've mentioned, several moms with our partner organizations like the Independent Women's Group, and telling very compelling stories. There's parents there, there's a school board member there talking about what is happening in real time right now in Virginia. And then we had a long line of parents ask questions. Some parents' testimonials like made me cry. They were so just moving. So I loved this event. I was there as well. And I thought, my gosh, it's when these are such good candidates. They're such quality candidates. And it's so sad to know that it's so hard for these good candidates when so much money is being spent against them and so many lies and smears. And then there's huge controversies that we're talking about, thank goodness for new media, but they just don't get in enough to some of the mainstream media. That's why we're talking about it. But their good news is there's a lot of activity, a lot of ballot chases. I have learned that President Trump is going to be holding some teletown halls today for Virginia and New Jersey. And I think there are a lot of folks that are working hard behind the scenes to find out who voted for Trump in 2024 and get them out to vote now, because these types of elections, a lot of people, they don't vote. The turnout is really low, especially among Republicans and independents. So what do you say to all of that?
Well, I'm so glad that you mentioned the event in Fairfax, first of all. So the picture that you've got here, this is the second panel, but I really want to commend to listeners the first panel as well. What I found so encouraging about it was incredible stories by parents of how they have figured out ways to fight back. Because I think this is one of the biggest frustrations. I've been watching this. I've been involved with the parents movement since probably January of 2020. And what I hear most often is individual parents who feel powerless and who feel frustrated because they don't know what can they as a single person do. And this is what I've learned more than anything over the last 5 years is, first of all, there are other like-minded people out there. And if you just come together, you can fight and you can have an impact. And I just loved that first panel because it was the stories of individual parents and ways that they have found to fight back. And I want to say that one of the most effective ways, and it is not hard at all, is simply to expose what's going on. So I'm going to say, like, to go the step that you went, which is to actually bring a lawsuit. And you know this better than anybody. You pay a terrible personal cost, even when you're vindicated in the end, as you just were. It's expensive. It's painful. It's hellish. It is. And so I don't fault anybody who doesn't want to go the distance of bringing a lawsuit, but there are things that you can do short of that are also very, very effective. And I think one of the most important things is you can expose what's going on. And I'll just give you one example here from Fairfax. We had a mom who put together, actually a mom with another person. I think they did this together. They just put together a simple 2-page summary of some of the worst content from the Fairfax County sex education curriculum. And I have shared that with, for example, I have shared that with pastors from our Ethiopian community. They have no idea. Most parents have no idea about the books that are in the schools, about the content that's in the schools, because honestly, what kid is going to come home and say, hey, mom, let me tell you what I learned about today, right? This stuff is so inappropriate and so embarrassing. And I don't think kids are going to talk about it. So a lot of parents, when you talk about parents not voting, I think a lot of times it's simply because they don't think there's any problem. And, it was really fascinating to me. I sat in on a focus group about less than a year ago. I sat in on a focus group of 8 minority voters in Fairfax County who had voted for Biden in 2020 and switched to Trump in 2024. And the interviewer was asking them, why did they switch? And it was for all the reasons that we would talk about, right? The radicalism of the left, this transgender stuff has gone too far. So there was nothing surprising there. But what really surprised me is when the interviewer turned the question to local politics, how do they feel about things in Fairfax? And they're like, oh, it's all great. Like they just don't see it. So I really do feel strongly that a big part of our job, for those of us who have been watching this longer, who've been involved in the fight, it's so powerful for us just to be writing articles, writing op-eds. And if you need ideas of how to do it, follow Asra Nomani, follow Stephanie Lundquist Aurora, and see how they do it. And it's so effective.
Yes, I'm looking right now at some of the pilot programs in boys and girls combined sex ed classes, and those posted by Fairfax Republicans. And it's very familiar curriculum to me because I have been fighting it in Wisconsin and helping parents all across the country. It's the same. It's the same everywhere. They are targeting young kids because when we think, you and I, we think of sex ed classes, we're thinking human growth and development, and we're thinking that, of talking about menstruation or sweating or all this other stuff that was even uncomfortable back then. But this new radical curriculum is teaching very young children concepts that are completely age inappropriate, indoctrinating them into gender ideology, and then sexualizing them and stealing their innocence at such a young age. And when you expose this curriculum, they either have to deny or stay quiet because it's so unacceptable that it crosses all boundaries. Democrat, Republican, you're pretty much disgusted by it.
And the only reason they're getting away with it is because kids don't want to come home and talk about it. And so that's why I think it's so important for parents to expose it. And I totally agree with you. It's so hypocritical. You know, here in Fairfax County, they actually call it family life education. That is such a misnomer. They don't talk about marriage at all. And all they talk about is all the different kinds of family you can have. And it's a lot of very explicit sexual instruction. There's no other way to describe it. And as you said, it's making kids question their sexuality. It's incredible how early they start getting kids to sort of ask questions. Oh, do you not feel like maybe you're a girl or a boy? And I just have to, on that note, I just want to throw in a little self-promotion for my book, Next Gen Marxism, because to me, one of the most interesting chapters, one of the chapters that I found most interesting in the process of researching it was why sex? Why has sex become sort of the pivotal topic for the radical left and for our kids? And I feel I really kind of got to the answer of that. And I mean, I can just say really briefly, if you look at the whole history of utopian thinkers, going back to Rousseau, going to Karl Marx, going to Marcuse, all through, every single one is a sexual deviant. Every single one had really crazy, their own sexuality was crazy. And so I really believe strongly that tearing down the family, tearing down sexual morality got rolled into their ideologies because they wanted the space for their own deviant sexuality. And it's like, it's really important to understand that, because I think a lot of people have been hoodwinked into thinking, oh, well, I have to let my kid transition or they're going to commit suicide. No, this is not normal. It's not healthy, and it's not good for our kids. And we need to arm ourselves with knowledge.
The surest way to destabilize a child, to break them, is to sexualize them, to cause them harm. Abused children they'll suffer for the rest of their life from that abuse. And if you are a revolutionary that seeks to destabilize a civilization and a culture, the way to do it is to go after the children. And then, like you've said, there are a lot of deviants and a lot of predators, very intelligent people. If you, I have, because to volunteer in my kids' school, in their Catholic school, I had to go through, even before I was more political, I had to go through a lot of training. And I learned that that a lot of times the predators, they're brilliant. Their IQs are off the charts. So we think of these people as like dirty and obvious. And it turns out that a lot of the worst predators are extremely intelligent, and you wouldn't be able to pick them out. And they will gravitate towards our kids. They will gravitate towards schools. They will gravitate towards professions where they have access to their prey. And so this ideology and this radicalism it just leaves vulnerable. It leaves these institutions vulnerable, and they've been captured, I think you're right. I can't wait to read your book, because I agree. There's one story after another of things that will never happen are happening, where predators are using these trans policies to go after and ogle girls and harm children and abuse children. And, I'm old enough to remember when protecting children and their innocence was important to everyone. And the Democrat Party has just lost the plot.
100%. On that note, I want to just talk about one other thing that is a really great opportunity for parents who care about this stuff and want to somehow turn it around. And I will say this, look, we have an amazing opportunity this year. I mean, not only is Donald Trump our president, and not only is Linda McMahon our Secretary of Education, which is just an unbelievable blessing. And you can't believe all the different things they're doing to try to get education in this country back on track, including returning education to the states. But they're doing a lot more besides to try to get the really bad stuff out. But it is a huge project. And I'm really a strong believer that parents have a role to play. So this year in particular, right, next July, we are going to be celebrating the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. This is an incredible opportunity for parents to both take a close look at how their kids are being taught about this country. Are they being taught lies like the 1619 Project or Howard Zinn's twisted version of our history, or are they being taught truthfully? And by that, I don't mean, are they being taught a whitewashed version of our history? I'm not saying don't talk about, what happened to the Indians, or don't talk about slavery, but give them an honest history. Don't give them the lies of the 1619 Project. And, I will say the way a lot of schools and the way a lot of textbooks teach about American history is every bit as corrupt and terrible as what's being taught about sex education. And the only way we're going to change this is if parents take an active role, read the textbooks, look at what they're teaching your kids. And if you're not happy about it, do something about it. Whether it's talking to your teacher, talking to the head of the school, maybe you have to go so far as to pull your kids out of that school and go to a different school. But this is where the corruption starts. It's not just in the sex ed, but it's in everything else that's being taught to our kids.
Yes, it's in the ideas that are in Advocates for Youth or other nationally recognized the sex ed curriculums. They are also SEL curriculums, social emotional learning curriculums. Oh, without a doubt. So social emotional learning, that's interwoven into every class, even math, science. And if I have access to your board docs, I can find the language for the most part that will say that. Now, what the Trump administration is doing, what Linda McMahon is doing, there's so much going on. They've only been in office for 9 months now. They're getting so much done, but there's only so much you can do at the federal level.
Yes.
We need to do this work at the state and local level. And that's why getting out to vote tomorrow and voting down ballot, vote for your state senators, assembly people. There are, how many races are on the ballot in Virginia? There are a lot right now.
Well, it depends on what county or what municipality you're in, because there are different elections going on in different places. Here in Fairfax County, so statewide, it's governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general. Here in Fairfax County, and statewide, it's also all the House of Delegate races. And those are super, super important. Here in Fairfax County, the only other sort of election issue is a bond issue, because this is the other thing they keep doing. They keep hitting us up. They keep wanting more and more money, even though the student body in Fairfax County is consistently shrinking. They keep needing more and more and more money to build more schools and make the schools bigger, even though they're starting to empty out. So, and it's Virginia's race and New Jersey race. Say it again.
That's happening everywhere. What you're just like the bonds, the constantly trying to raise money, build more buildings, even though there's less students. It's because it's so much about money and not educating. And look at the scores. Look at the scores in Virginia. Instead of focusing on that, they're focusing on so many other things. But I'm reading right now from the Center for Politics, the Democrats hold a narrow 51-48 majority in the House of Delegates in Virginia. So a flip there would be great. If Winsome won and you had lieutenant governor and AG and control the House of Delegates, that would be great. But let's say all that you can do is AG and flipping Republican control to the House of Delegates. Well, that provides a check. So, trying to when it's really important, because you could stop legislation if for some, hopefully this doesn't happen, but if Democrats were to win the governor's race, or if Winsome Sears wins, like we hope and pray that she will, and Republicans have the majority, well, things can actually get passed.
Yeah.
So these are super important races.
Yep.
Now, I know you have a hard stop coming soon, so I don't want to keep you. We could talk for a long time. What in closing, what do you want to say to Virginians as we embark on the last day that they can vote tomorrow?
I mean, more than anything, I don't want anybody to feel powerless. I think that's the sort of the biggest mistake people make. And I understand it. I mean, I felt that way, I think, myself for the longest time. I always thought, what can I as one person do? But it's incredible what one person can do. Even just calling, I mean, I'm going to assume that anybody listening to this has voted, because I don't think you have passive listeners. But for example, even those people who have voted, you know, does it occur to them, like, who are 3 people I could call to make sure that they have voted, right? Especially these kinds of elections. That kind of outreach from a friend or a family member is hugely impactful. And so I just ask everybody, look, we live in a self-governing republic, and the only way we're going to hold on to our freedom is if every single one of us takes responsibility for our country and our community and plays an active role to make it better. So that's my request.
And you're right. A lot of our listeners, if they're in Virginia, they voted, but do you have a child over 18? Have they voted? Check in on them. Do you have parents? Do you have grandparents? Have they voted? Drive them to the polls. Call some friends. I will tell you that I will even call family members, my own siblings, and say, have you voted? And they're like, oh no, I forgot. I'm going, like, now, let's go. You got to go right now. Polls close at 8. And that phone call could mean 2 extra votes. Every call you make, another vote. And if so, you keep doing that, and that could make a difference if 100 people do that. So now that we're at this point, it's not over. But no matter what, even if things don't go the way that you would like at the end of the night tomorrow, you are not powerless. Get involved. Get involved in your local GOP. Get involved in Moms for Liberty. Get involved in other organizations. Form your own organization. Just get involved and make sure that you are making people aware, and use some of the facts that we've talked about. If you go, that's why I listed, follow Katie. She's got the receipts there. Pull some of that up, screenshot that, and say, hey, did you know that this happened in Portsmouth schools? What do you think about that? Look at this. Go to, and I'll link the Fairfax County website. Did you see this curriculum? Boy, like, we really, that can change people's minds. That could get them from someone who's like, I don't know if my vote matters, to, hey, my vote does matter. I'm going to go out and vote.
Well, listen, thank you so much for having me on. This has been great. And thank you so much for all that Moms for Liberty does. I love you guys. You know that.
Well, we love you. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And I'll be watching from Wisconsin. I'll be in DC on Wednesday, but I'll be watching, praying.
Great.
So bye,
Thank
Katie.
you.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye. That was a great conversation to have with Katie. She's very humble as well. She is so brilliant, and so is her husband, and they are great friends of Moms for Liberty, tremendous Americans and tremendous patriots. And I am excited to read her book. She was speaking my love language as she was going deeper into these radical ideologies, getting to the question why, which I get asked a lot. Why would anyone want to do this? So I look forward to talking to her again when her book is out and available, so that we can discuss that. I wanted to share this video. It's not new, but the sentiments are the same. This is a Virginia mom talking. Hold on one second. Here we go.
Mom of 2 in Fairfax County. This is my oldest. And my husband and I have a difficult decision to make this fall as he is approaching preschool age, and we are faced with the decision of whether or not we are going to put our child in public school system where Fairfax County has decided to move forward with instituting gender studies in elementary school. Despite having done a study group, a focus group in the community to see if parents even wanted this. And when parents said no, the board voted 16-0 and said we're moving forward anyways. This shows clearly that they see parents not as partners, but as an obstacle for their agenda. And I have a really hard time looking at him and going, here, I'm just going to give you over to people who do not want to partner with me in how you're going to be raised. School and education is a huge part of a child's life. And early childhood is supposed to be filled with exploration and creativity and fun, not debating issues that are for adults to handle. These kinds of topics should be introduced sensitively and by parents who are raising their children with their values, not with an ideology passed down from the top. And so this isn't about discrimination. This is about age appropriateness. This is about parents being parents and the school being the support system to parents that it was created to be. I'm urging legislators to oppose the bill like the Hashmi bill and amendments that could further erode parental involvement and religious freedoms. Parents should be the primary educators in their children's lives and the protectors of their children's values. And so this is why we're here, to protect diverse family values and make sure that our children stay safe. And to the Fairfax County School Board, we really need you to listen. You have been elected. You have been put there to represent our voice. When you chose to make the decision to be on the school board, did you have us in mind or an agenda? And you really need to think about who are you there to represent, because the parents don't want this. Our schools should be partners with parents, not ideological adversaries.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, that's 100%. Agree with everything. I've said similar things many, many times. Again, I want to bring this to the stage. CEO and co-founder of Moms for Liberty, Tina Deskovich, in Fairfax, Virginia. I have reposted the town hall, the parental rights town hall that was in Virginia not too long ago. And it was a great event. And if you have the time to watch it, it's also on our YouTube. So you could go there at any time. The Moms for Liberty YouTube, just go to the YouTube page and right at the top, it'll have Moms for Liberty town halls, and Virginia is one of the most recent. So watch it and share this with anyone who might be a little unsure who to vote for, or if they haven't voted, they're a low propensity voter, especially if they are if they voted for Trump in 2024, they absolutely should be out voting for all of these candidates. I am going to bring up some more information. So with this interview of Katie Gorka, I am attaching my most recent interview, which aired Saturday, with Lydia Schaffer and Jamie Hinkle. Lydia Schaffer is a influencer on Instagram with Turning Point USA, and she's a mother. She owns a beauty salon, and she's gorgeous, but she's a young mom, and she is also a resident of Virginia, and she has been on Instagram exposing a lot of corruption that was revealed to her through Restoration PAC and Restoration News, and through Corey DeAngelis. So right here, this is a rental agreement 0, and we talked about that earlier. I want to bring up share right now. So let's bring up Restoration News. I'll share this because we talked about this a little bit earlier, but it's important. So you can see here. Right. Virginia School District used taxpayer resources to promote Democrat candidate for governor Abigail Spanberger during work hours. And you can see here, FOIA emails show district leaders coordinated with campaign staff, redirected school resources, and urged teachers to attend a partisan rally with Democrats Hashmi and Jones on paid time. And Jones is the very controversial AG candidate who had sent those text messages in which he had fantasized about the death of his political opponents and their young children, all because he said then they would finally understand the impact of their policies or something. Was just this weekend, he wasn't disavowed. He was campaigning with former President Barack Obama. There's just this, it's just unacceptable. And if you find yourself accused of promoting violence or being somebody filled with hate, the facts are that candidates that espoused some pretty terrible things have not been disavowed, and as a matter of fact, they've been platformed. So, well, continuing on with this, there were photos, FOIAs, all the receipts are here. Again, this is Restoration News. You can go to restoration/news.com. You could go to the Restoration News X page, and Moms for Liberty has also reposted, as well as Defending Education. And I have reposted both Defending Education, Corey DeAngelis. So just go to the Moms for Liberty X. This is all like stuff that's really not hard to find because we have it at the top. Because of the importance of the Virginia race, as well as New Jersey, New York, these are the, you're probably hearing about it now. If you're Politico, someone who's tuned in, this is all you're going to be hearing about for the next 2 days. But if you go to the Moms for Liberty X page at moms4 Liberty, you'll see I've kind of reposted and have to the top our town hall, which included Winsome Sears, John Reed, who's running for lieutenant governor, Jason Miaris, AG, and co-founder Tina Deskovich. There's a panel that included Ian Pryor, who is a lawyer with America First Legal and a huge parental rights activist, written his own books. I'll put some of his information up. I also have reposted about the electioneering in Virginia and how administrators coordinated with campaign staff of Democrats and urged teachers to attend. I've also reposted that beautiful speech by the mom from Fairfax County. And I've reposted some of our stories from August that included Loudoun County, Virginia, and the 10-day suspension for quote unquote sex-based discrimination after he and a few other boys had simply expressed discomfort for changing in the locker rooms with a girl pretending to be a boy. So we have that story. We also have from Prince William County, we have my friend Marian Jansen speaking before her school board. And then we've got a podcast from September 29th that I had done, Dangerously Woke. Dangerously Woke. Fairfax County, Virginia school leaders are dangerously woke, and talked about, and again, aired the Moms for Liberty town hall. So there's a lot of info there. Go there and share. Last day to vote tomorrow. So be informed, share. There's going to be also, there's going to be a teletown hall with President Trump today. It is going to be at 3. Let's see, I want to get the times right. I believe it will be at 3 o'clock Eastern time. So there's one for New Jersey and one for Virginia. And I want to get that information right. So you can see John Fredericks has just posted teletown hall on Monday. Today, so be sure to tune into that, and I'm going to repost that. And I wanted to share some details. I mentioned it in the interview with Katie Gorka, the Center for American Politics. So here's some data. Table 1, recent election results in districts that could flip under a narrow Earl Sears win. So win some wins. So this is all inside Virginia politics, but I just wanted to show a little of these numbers because I felt this was very good data, and I am a political scientist, so I do love going over data. So here are some races that, and it's given it, the poll numbers are very tight. For Winsome to win, it would be an upset. It would be a surprise. But if Virginia Republicans can pull off this upset, or if GOP House candidates can outperform the top of the ticket, the 3 House seats that Glenn Youngkin carried in 21, but that elected Democrats in 23 are the most intuitive to flip from blue to red. Republicans need to flip 2 of these 3 seats while maintaining everything else they currently have in order to flip the House of Delegates. Besides these 3 districts, the 48 other Democrat-held House districts all voted for Harris by double-digit margins, making them an even less attractive target. So here are the 3 that could be flipped, according to this analysis: Prince William County, Stafford County, and Virginia Beach. And then he kind of goes on here. So if Spanberger were to win narrowly, these districts saw many Republicans' narrowest margins, making them prime targets for Democrat pickups right there. This is all really good data. I'm going to make sure I post this underneath because so what this is just some of the scenarios that I talked about. the best outcome, of course, is for Team Sanity to flip the House of Delegates and win and maintain the governorship for Republicans under Winsome in the governor's race. So that would be an ideal situation. And win the lieutenant governor's race, of course. There's a really solid candidate there, John Reed, really personable, super nice guy, right on all the issues. I'll put a little of his social media up there. And it's, knock on wood, it's looking very good right now for AG candidate Jason Miyares. So numbers are looking good there. I mean, with that scandal, it's hard to believe it would even be close, but such are the times we live. So there's that, and I think this is some really good, interesting information if you are somebody that is interested in the data and wants to kind of monitor it, especially on Tuesday. Again, right now, Democrats won a 51-49 majority in the chamber in 2023. Very small majority, but there was, from what Jamie told us in our interview, there was some little redistricting going on, and much more planned for the future if things don't go well. So there are also school board races. I don't have how many of those, but I would go to momsforliberty.org, click Virginia, look at the Moms for Liberty groups that are there. We have Prince William County, for example, see who's running and endorsements. These are all very, very important elections. And I also want to look at Ian Pryor. There's a couple other people I think that we should mention when we talk about great conservative Virginians and organizations that are providing some very meaningful contributions. On his X page, I am at America First Legal, and Ian Pryor, I am just seeing that America First Legal filed a complaint against Loudoun County Public Schools, alleging the school district conspired with a political action committee to retaliate against its own students. Loudoun County, pretty grim. There's a lot going on in 4 or 5 extremely woke school districts. So if you want to learn more about that, then you I will post under the links to follow Ian, to go to his X page, and you can see there's so much going on in Virginia schools right now. And it's so necessary to get a majority to flip the House of Delegates and to win that governor's race. And could you imagine winning all of it? That would be amazing. But man, there's a lot to care about. There's a lot to vote for. There's a lot on the line. However things go, we're not going anywhere, but boy, this is a really important election, one that cannot be sat out. No way. Finally, I want to talk about my friend Marianne Jensen's article, and I will provide a link for it as well. Virginia deserves better than Abigail Spanberger. So this is a great op-ed, and it is in the DC Journal. talks about a lot of things that we have mentioned: corruption, teachers' unions, and what's really important to note here that Virginia students' test scores have yet to rebound from the pandemic years. Students in Virginia experienced some of the worst pandemic learning loss in the country and have struggled to recover. The state ranked 51st out of 50 states and DC in math recovery between 2019 and 2024, according to the Education Recovery Scorecard, a project from Harvard and Stanford University researchers. Also, Marian discusses her stance on gender ideology, which is abysmal, and her failure to vote for the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act of 2023, earning her a failing score from the independent women's voice, Riley Gaines' Stand with Women scorecard. She has campaigned to redefine child abuse and include parents who don't affirm their child's chosen gender identity. And basically that means that she thinks children should receive puberty blockers that will permanently stunt their growth and prevent them from developing. Also approves of cross-sex hormones for children. That would lead, these kids will have lifelong dysfunction and medical problems. She has failed to protect children, protect parental rights, and failed to demonstrate, quote, basic human decency. This is not someone who has Virginians' best interests in mind. So, great words from Marianne Jensen, who is Prince William County, Virginia, mother of 4 and member of the Independent Women's Network. And she's also member Moms for Liberty. So I will share that article as well. I think that sums it up pretty well. If you're watching this and live in Virginia, most likely you have voted already or you have a plan to vote. If you don't, make one. But please be sure that you bring others to the polls, just like we were talking about with Katie. This election is just too important. You cannot sit this out. You can make a real difference. In an election like this, turnout is key. Turnout, turnout, turnout. If parents and grandparents and team sanity turn out, we will win. Turnout numbers are below 30% in non-presidential years, sometimes way lower than that. All that needs to happen is that if you voted in 2024 and you voted for President Trump and you voted for other Republicans, get out to vote and do the same. Vote for team sanity. Do that in record numbers and you win. Don't do that and children lose. So you can make a difference. One person can make a difference. One person can make many phone calls. One person with a car can drive many people to the polls. One person can remind others, hey, did you remember to vote? And if they seem discouraged, like nothing's going to change, tell them some of the facts that we've talked about today. Share these articles, share these posts. Ask them, say, if you can't vote for yourself, vote for my kids. Protect my kids. Protect everything else. Vote on these issues that matter. Get boys out of our girls' bathroom. Girls out of boys' bathroom. Don't prosecute young boys simply because they don't want to change in their locker room with a girl. They're embarrassed. They don't want to do it. They shouldn't be charged with a sex discrimination crime. And then officials, now they're allegedly engaging in all sorts of nefarious activities. This is insanity. You have to be the ones standing in the way of predators coming after children. There is no plan B. This is the Alamo. There's no back door. The only way out is through. Voting. Voting. Don't often quote Barack Obama, but in his campaign speech this weekend, when he started to say terrible things about Donald Trump and MAGA. The crowd yelled, boo. And he said, no, no, don't boo, vote. So I'm going to tell you, don't listen to what I'm saying. Don't look at the materials that are provided and say, boo, or, oh, terrible. If you live in Virginia, go vote. Make a difference. Your vote matters. And if there are a bunch of other issues that you feel disillusioned about, put that aside and vote for children. Vote on that issue, because schools are a mess. The ideology is real, and the activists are coming for your children. You care about Charlie Kirk's message, and I know you do. Then do it for him too. Because if he were alive right now, he would be talking about Virginia, and you know he would. He would be asking you to get out and vote and do the right thing. And I'm asking you to do that now as well. So have a wonderful evening. Let's pray for great outcomes tomorrow in New York. Big mayoral race. Literal communist that is poised to win and control one of America's, if not America's largest, one of the most important cities in this country. You've got big race in New Jersey. I'll be talking to more parents from New Jersey soon. And we've got Virginia. You heard what Katie Gorka said, bellwether state. So let's do the right thing. If you live in these states, get out and vote. If you don't, but you know people that do live in these states, hey, give them a call. Ask them if they voted. And in your own community, stand up, speak up, and fight, fight, fight. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining me. Hi, everyone. This is Unleashed with Scarlett Johnson, presented by Moms for Liberty. And I'm here today with my new friend, Lydia Schaffer, otherwise known as Conservative Barbie 2.0 on Instagram. She recently just joined us in Orlando, Florida at the Moms for Liberty National Joyful Warriors Summit. And we had a great panel where we talked about social media influencing and making a difference in your community by using your voice, by going to social media, you know, the town square. And so we could talk a little bit about that. But you live in Virginia Beach, Virginia, correct?
Well, I'm close to Virginia Beach. I'm technically considered Hampton Roads, Virginia. I'm in Carrollton, so I'm on the outskirts of Hampton Roads. But I always tell people I'm from Virginia Beach because it just sounds easier. People know where that is.
Yes, I know. I lived in Portsmouth for a while, and I would say I live in Norfolk because
Exactly.
more people knew, because you just had to go under the water tunnel at the tunnel.
Yes.
I remember.
We have so many tunnels and bridges here. It's insane. Anybody that ever visits that's from out of town, they're like, what in the world? There's water everywhere.
Yes, and you have to time your travel based on tunnel traffic. And until you get stuck for an hour and a half through tunnel traffic with kids in the car, I always traveled with like water bottles and food just in case there was an issue. So yeah,
right. There's nothing like it. People want to talk about how bad LA is or whatever. I'm like, come to Hampton Roads.
The traffic is the traffic is legit. It's
Totally.
It can be bad.
Yes.
A beautiful area. I lived there for 6 years. On the naval base, I was a naval officer's wife, and I loved it. It's a beautiful, beautiful area. So
Awesome.
I have a special spot in my heart for Virginia, and what's happening there matters for a lot of reasons. Not just because I used to live there, but nationally, this is a big election. There's a huge governor's race, lieutenant governor's race, and attorney general's race, which has gone national. And normally that doesn't happen except for the unusual circumstances of what's happening right now in Virginia. So I wanted to talk to you about, at first, we were just going to talk about sort of influencing and all that stuff, but you have been breaking a really important story about what's happening in Virginia. And since this election is very close and can be decided by folks that get out to vote on Tuesday, now I'm sure it would have been nice for people to vote early, but we're getting past that. And now the next time to vote, as people are watching this, will be Tuesday. So if you live in Virginia. So I'm going to play your Instagram clip, and then I'm gonna let you talk about what's happening. So let's pull that up, and I'm going to share my screen. All right, let's get that here. And then, so folks, if they want to follow you, here is your Instagram page. You're also on TikTok. And all social media, but which is your big focus?
My main focus is Instagram. So yes, Conservative Barbie 2.0. But yes, I am on TikTok as just Conservative Barbie, as well as Facebook as Conservative Barbie.
Okay, so let's pull up this clip and let's get the sound.
Potential felony. Corey DeAngelis has just exposed that Portsmouth Public Schools let Democrat Abigail Spanberger hold a campaign rally inside of IC Norcom High School during work hours, with teachers being told to attend. And get this, they did not charge her a dime. Taxpayer resources handed over for partisan politics. This Virginia code is crystal clear. Public officials cannot use taxpayer-funded property or personnel for private political purposes, and that's a Class 4 felony. You know what else falls under Class 4 felonies in Virginia? Malicious wounding. Illegal possession of a firearm by a felon. This isn't small potatoes. This carries 2 to 10 years in prison and fines up to $100,000. So tell me, why is a candidate for governor getting the same treatment as a career criminal? Why are schools being turned into campaign headquarters? Even in Texas, the Attorney General sued school districts for this exact same scheme. Where is the accountability in Virginia? Jason Miares, we're looking at you. This happened at Norcom, where my dad went to high school. And schools should be safe places for kids to learn, not playgrounds for political corruption. Parents, taxpayers, Virginians, wake up. They're not just indoctrinating kids anymore. They're breaking the law. If they get away with it here, they'll do it everywhere. Listen up, Virginia. This is not just dirty politics. This is a potential felony. Corey.
So that was a really good quick summary. And as we know on Instagram, you have to talk fast. You have to get
Yes.
point across really quick. So now explain to us what you're talking about, and just take your time. Walk us through what happened.
Well, so Corey DeAngelis, he works very closely with Moms for Liberty, correct?
Yes, he does. I'm
Yeah,
going to have him on too.
Awesome. So he is incredible. And if you guys go on Twitter, you can find every single document supporting this. This all started basically when the Freedom of Information Act emails revealed something pretty alarming inside Portsmouth Public Schools on August 8th, the first teacher workday of the new school year. Portsmouth Public School administrators coordinated directly with Abigail Spanberger's campaign for governor to host a political rally inside of IC Norcom High School. This was not an after-hours community event. It happened during the school day when teachers were being paid by taxpayers to prepare for students. And basically, the emails prove direct coordination between district officials and the Spanberger campaign. On August 6th, Norcom principal Tisha Sanders emailed a campaign staffer saying, "I've invited teachers to the event. I'll speak with them the morning of August 8th. But then she followed up saying, "So far I have 20 teachers. How many would you like?" Then we have the Chief Operations Officer, Jerry Simmons. He also wrote that because it was the first day for teachers, Ms. Sanders will be better positioned to assist with teachers and staff attending the event. So we just have all this proof of them directly going back and forth with the Spanberger campaign. I mean, teachers weren't attending voluntarily after hours. They were being urged to go during paid time by their own supervisors.
And I am posting on the screen some of the receipts provided by Corey. Again, Portsmouth, I just said I used to live in Portsmouth, Virginia.
Yeah.
So Portsmouth Public Schools here's the receipt showing that an agreement for rental right here. And so I'm going to kind of go through some of, you can keep talking.
Well, can we talk about what the event actually was?
Yeah. What was it?
So photos and social media posts show Abigail Spanberger along with Ghazala Hashmi, who is a senator, and delegate. We all know Jay Jones. We all know who he is. He was there as well. What they were doing at this event.
He is the Attorney General.
He's running for Attorney General, and he's the one that fantasized about children dying.
Yes.
And Abigail won't condemn it.
Yeah, if you live under a rock and you don't know.
Yes. Thank you for that, Scarlett.
But if you don't know the story, this became national. This is why an Attorney General's race became national, because this guy running for Attorney General, it's a Democrat, texted his fantasy that, why don't you tell it more because you live there?
Well, basically, he was fantasizing about the children of his opponents dying. And he basically was saying that change doesn't really happen until people are hurting. And that's sick. He made some jokes that were just incredibly inappropriate, but he was serious. He was fantasizing about the death of children. And yeah. Abigail will not condemn that.
Nope, she would not. She stayed completely silent. While you're talking, I'm going to look up some more of those clips. I always like to show the receipts.
Yes.
I love that. What was the event?
Yes. So let's talk about the event. So we had Abigail there, Jay Jones there, and Senator Ghazala Hashmi. And they were delivering in the library here at IC Norcom. They were delivering campaign style speeches under banner. They had banners hanging up that said, "Parents and educators for Spanberger." They criticized their political opponents and talked about their campaigns, which is clear partisan messaging. And although the district later tried to label it as an education roundtable per se, everything about it, from the banners, the tone, the campaign staff, they even had a mobilize.us RSVP page. They had the media there. It points to a political rally and not some sort of neutral education event like they're claiming.
Yeah. So, and here's some pictures of the, this was this is
it's very clear.
Yes. And you can see, looking at, we were talking about Jay Jones. You've got Abigail Spanberger. You've got, this is at a school. They're holding imagine, all you have to do is imagine if this were happening and this was Trump and these were MAGA hats.
Oh yeah.
Could you
imagine living in Portsmouth and paying your taxes, and you are funding this entire event? I mean, teachers are being paid.
Yes.
I'm
going to quickly bring on another your fellow Virginian.
Awesome.
Jamie Hinkle. She also works with Moms for Liberty. She is a parental rights activist. She's very active in her community, works really closely with her school board. She's a former chapter chair, so let's bring her on. Hey, Jamie.
Hi, Lydia.
Good to see you, girl.
You too.
So we're talking about this erupting story that Lydia thinks is going to even get bigger, because I don't think people have fully absorbed what is happening, that on school premises using taxpayer funded dollars, these are paid, all these people are paid with tax dollars. They were engaged in electioneering, or allegedly engaged in electioneering. Don't want to get sued again.
Right. I mean, like anything else, like where there's smoke, there's fire. And so I'm absolutely have no doubt that there's more to this story. We're so fortunate to have, people like Corey looking into this and sharing it. I don't know what you've talked about before, but even knowing that Lydia lived in that area, which is why I reached out to her, just to get more eyes on it.
Yes. Jamie, I will say Jamie is actually the one who sent this to me, and basically was like, check this out. And so immediately I said, whoa. And I mean, you just couldn't deny everything that Corey had. I mean, it's just endless, all of the documentation.
I have up on screen Virginia code, and
Yes.
it's unlawful for any public officer or employee to use or permit the use of public property, personnel, or funds for private or political purposes.
Well, exactly. And not only that, but Portsmouth also has very clear policies as well. I mean, Portsmouth Public Schools, basically, it straight up says employees cannot engage in any kind of political activity while on duty or on school property during school hours. They can't use school resources or positions to support or oppose a candidate. And so they clearly violated their own policy.
Yeah, it's a class 4 felony. Right
Yes.
here. This is Virginia law, misuse of public.
And so my question would be like, what other school districts are participating in this, supporting? I think we have 133 school districts in Virginia. And so
It's such a great question. And I saw where in Texas, Attorney General Ken Paxton has already sued 7 school districts for doing this very same thing. So light really needs to be shown on this whole scheme.
This isn't unusual for Virginia. The similar things have happened in Wisconsin, in Wauwatosa School District, where they call them education events, but they smack of a political rally, door knocking and distributing flyers by teachers unions. There's a lot of gray areas. This goes beyond even gray area. This is.
Right. I mean, and we've seen it in other places, like, inviting the League of Women Voters in, right, to say that they're, going to educate on registering for our new voters. And then it's like, where is that data collected? Where does it go? I posted that story. I think, Scarlett, do you remember? I think it was last year in Loudoun County about a friend's daughter who was kind of solicited to, like, you need to register. You need to, it was,
I'm going to look that up right now. I would now remember that, where they were they were talking to them about voting, maybe even handing them ballots, but I'm going to look that up really fast.
Right. And they kind of go into the school saying like, oh, we're nonpartisan, but it's like, no, you're not.
The League of Women Voters, not nonpartisan.
No.
Mm-mm. And that's why, so what I know, a lot of areas, I know what I am trying to do in our area. We don't have school board elections until April, but we are trying to kind of do the same thing, hold symposiums, because if the League of Women Voters can do it, why can't Moms for Liberty? Why can't we also? If they're going to let League of Women Voters into high schools, then I want Moms for Liberty to go in and talk
Right.
about the importance of
And
voting.
it's going to be proving that nonpartisan label isn't real, right? Like who's funding them? Who are they working with? What are the partnering organizations or like the umbrella organizations? Because that's what happens, that's why Moms for Liberty gets sidebarred so often.
Yeah. Well, Scarlett, while you're looking that up, can I just touch on real quick a few more things regarding facility use in Portsmouth? So according to their own policy at Portsmouth Public Schools, if you're going to rent the facility, you have to apply at least 16 business days in advance. You have to provide proof of insurance, naming Portsmouth Public Schools as insured. You have to pay all rental and custodial fees. You have to provide security confirmation and pay all fees 5 days in advance. And I have to tell you, the Spanberger campaign did none of that. They applied only 8 days in advance. They never submitted insurance, never paid rental or custodial fees, and they never provided security documentation.
And Lydia, is that
So-
even for during the school day, or is it like we rent out our buildings like on the weekends or like non-instructional school time? So I wonder if there's
That's a
separate
good question. That's a good question. I'm not sure the answer to that. I know that Corey had provided the entire, all of
Right.
the rules basically. But I will tell you, despite this, the superintendent, he personally approved the event, and he also made $379,000 last year. So, just want to throw all that out there.
And how are Virginia's test scores while all this is going on? Because from what I'm seeing from the Washington Post, in August, Virginia student test scores have yet to rebound from the pandemic. And quote, students in Virginia experienced some of the worst pandemic learning loss in the country and have struggled to recover. The state ranked 51st out of the 50 states and DC, so last in math recovery. And according to the Education Recovery Scorecard, they are also like ranked very low in reading. So while Virginia students should be focused on reading and math and experiencing academic recovery, they're instead focused on campaign events for
Absolutely.
their candidate.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, it's
I think some of it comes down to, this specific event I think took place in like the teacher planning days before school started. So I think it's important just to differentiate there. But at the same time, we're always hearing about teachers, not having enough planning time or not having enough time to do the things. And like this is a choice. You're going into. I we could take it back to like the COVID era days when they, teachers wanted to shut down schools because, kids were germy. And I was like, weren't you guys all at the Jimmy Buffett concert a week ago? Like these things are not making sense.
Right.
So,
It's
it's
selective
just that,
outrage here. I
Yes.
mean, but so technically though, with this whole situation, if Corey's gonna move forward and try to like prosecute, ultimately, ethically, the Spanberger campaign, it's what they've done is wrong, but ultimately all of this falls on the school district, doesn't it?
Yeah, I have breaking news right now. This is 2 minutes posted. Look at I'm put on screen. Amount due 0. The rental agreement shows they used the space and they paid nothing.
Oh yeah.
So that's I'm actually didn't put it on screen. Hold on. Now it's on screen. Look at that.
that looks about right.
0.
Yeah.
So I think that's huge. That's huge. So
We
the nation now.
Yes, we funded that here in Virginia. We funded that whole thing.
This is
She didn't have to pay a dime.
Now that space was given for free. That had value, and now this is an in-kind donation. I think that puts this on a much nefarious.
Yes.
Absolutely. There's some real consequences for this.
Right, because the code basically says if the value of the misuse exceeds $1,000, it becomes a class 4 felony. So, this easily exceeded $1,000. You got to look at teacher salaries for the time they attended, administrative time used to plan the event, facility costs like building use, electricity, custodial work. It easily exceeds $1,000. So,
this is, and I'm reading Corey's feed. The rental agreement shows that the school district charged the Democrat campaign $0 to use their building for a political rally during work hours. And he says, just what I said, it looks like an in-kind donation. And that's exactly, I have run for school board. I have worked on campaigns. And if if I'm not, my campaign is not paying for something, that is an in-kind donation and must be reported.
Yeah.
We still have to report it.
Absolutely. And if Portsmouth Public Schools actually does get away with this, I mean, how many other school divisions are going to do the same thing quietly? This is going to kind of set the tone for what we're going to see in the future. I mean,
yeah, and I think
it's
here,
crazy.
and I know Restoration News broke this story, and and so I know that there's some FOIAing going on. I mean, that's going to really be where a lot of this information comes to light, is, you know, the interactions between the superintendent giving approval, you know, down to the principals, down to whoever was orchestrating the event. So, you know, we have a truth on our side there.
Yes, totally. And I'm just so curious as to why locally, you know, obviously I know a lot of people locally. And once I posted the video yesterday, lots of local people started tagging local news stations here, Wavy TV 10, WVEC. I mean, it's endless, all the tags. And do you think they're going to cover this story? They haven't, you
But I
know?
also think it's wild because they shared it in real time when they were doing it. Like August 8th, there was pictures. And
Good point. Very good point.
And so I will say, and, you know, just for my own, you know, local being in Fauquier, and I'm sure you for in Isle of Wight, Lydia, like there is something to be said about just the people who have willingly stepped forward to kind of pay attention about what's going on in their communities and bring it to light and to send it to the people who, you know, can get it in front of thousands. And so, like, you know, unfortunately, it doesn't look like that was happening in Portsmouth. And so, you know, what can we do there? And imagine having one person in every county in Virginia, in the United States. It's kind of like the goal of Moms for Liberty, right? Like, what if you had a chapter chair in every county that was just like, this is not...
Actually, you can't do that.
Yeah, you actually can't do that.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, and I had previously had up on the screen some more communication. The district chief operations officer told the Democrat campaign, using his official email account, to link up with the school's principal to get teachers to attend the political rally at the school, since August 8th was their first day back to work. So that shows. Now, what
I would be, let me just tell you, if this happened in Fauquier, I would be lighting it up. There's no chance.
You know, I lived in Portsmouth. This is a majority Democrat city.
It is.
And the whole Hampton Roads area, really. I mean, you know, even what we're seeing, like, I don't know if you guys have turned on the TV to see what's going on with the case of the teacher that was shot in Newport News. Like, it is.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother podcast topic.
Whole nother podcast.
Totally break that down.
I didn't even hear about that.
Yep.
Yeah. So the questions, imagine now, what everyone has to imagine is, imagine this were a mega rally.
Even Governor Youngkin, even Sears, you know, Winsome Sears.
Winsome Sears. What if this was?
This would be all over.
Holistic.
Oh, this would be all over every channel. I mean, right now, there's crickets. I'm sorry. We've got me, you guys, Corey, and Restoration News. Like, where's everybody else?
Right.
I mean, what's going on? But I mean, we're not surprised, are we?
No, I'm certainly not surprised.
I think it's because some people don't. It's a little more complicated. I think, do people not like electioneering, or there's so?
I mean, I think what I'm gonna do is send it out to all the superintendents in Virginia, and you know,
please do. I know I've sent it to the Commonwealth's attorney in Portsmouth. Nothing. Got nothing back.
We do have some contacts in the Attorney General's office, Lydia, that we could.
Wonderful. I know they've been tagging him left and right in the comments, but I'm not sure, you know, if he's on social media like that.
Right. Yeah, and especially this close to the election. This is the last day of, I think, early voting, which that's what I was doing. That's why I was late to this. I went in today. Usually we go in as a family, and, you know, things are just crazy right now. But this election is huge. I would say, you know, the election last year, when, you know, the country came together and elected President Trump, was like the biggest election for our country. And like, this is right now for our state this is a big one. That's a big one.
That's a big one. But I mean, as far as this Portsmouth situation, I guess from here, I mean, we got the Portsmouth Commonwealth's attorney who needs to know. We've got Jason Miyares, and then State Board of Elections. Maybe we should let them know.
And the
then what's
Virginia
the school
Department of
board?
Education, to be quite honest, because,
How can they not know? But I guess to just let them know that, like there needs to be an outcry so that they can't ignore it.
Absolutely.
right. The Virginia Education Association, the, Virginia's, superintendent associate, like just everybody.
Let's get this out. That's what I'll work on today.
Yeah. Because mostly, I mean, and what we found locally and even in other things, it's like, they'll be like, oh, well, I didn't know. It's like, well, okay, well, if we tell you,
If
we tell
now
you,
know. What
now
are you going
know,
to do?
and what are you going to do? That's right. That is right.
So I'm adding just to,
And the proof is, like, if they are holding events like this, like, what else have they been willing to do to support, a candidate? Like, did they bring in Winsome? Probably not. Did they
Right.
bring in, who are they bringing in to register voters if this was happening in the high school? Like, it's just this kind of like web of,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
I have, because we
influence.
discussed Restoration News breaking this story, so I have their image up on the screen, and so you can follow them at News Restoration, and I'll put that up into the comments when this posts. But they had the original breaking story on October 28th. The FOIA email showing district leaders coordinating with campaign staff redirected school resources and urged teachers to attend a partisan rally with Democrats Hashmi and Jones on paid time. So go, if you want to read the whole story, it's right there. Check it out for yourself. And
Yes, that article is full of information. It's very well done.
Yep. You can see right here, like a lot of, so then you can click these links and you'll have all the receipts so that you can make, and this is useful because when you write emails and you make phone calls, that you can send them all of the proof so that they cannot deny that this happened.
Right.
Yeah, and I think taxpayers also need to know that you can also do a Freedom of Information Act. Like, you can send in an email to your whoever I'm trying to think of, like, there's an officer, right, within the county schools, and try to be as specific as you can, include dates and names, and sometimes there's a fee associated, but like anyone can do this.
Do you know how long it typically takes to get that information back?
I think it's district dependent. Like, I've had some searches that have taken, I think is it a required time, Scarlett? Do you know, like, to respond? Like, they have to respond to you within like 48 hours or 4 days or,
It can be up to 10 business days that they have to respond.
Okay.
Sometimes you'll get, that's why there's an art to FOIA. Like, if you ask for a lot, then they might charge you a fee. They might say this is going to take a lot of time. It's always good to start smaller and then grow.
But if you are interested on it, Lydia, we'll connect you to our friend Meg Brock. She is like a FOIA connoisseur.
Ooh, okay.
Yep.
Jamie, you know all the people. You have all the connections. I just love you.
And then you can go
like,
to the
you
Mom's
taught me
for
so
Liberty
much about
website,
doing it,
too.
because I remember submitting one back again, like during COVID, and they sent it and it was like $9,000.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, first off, that's insane. And secondly, like, if you know what to ask and like the wording and the verbiage and you're very specific,
It can be a little more simplified.
yes. And they're going to get it back to you quicker, to be quite honest.
Okay.
Yep. And you can go to the Moms for Liberty website. We have a lot of information about sample FOIA requests, and they can be very standard. So you could just take a template and then go from there. And it'll help you to use the right language so that you can expedite your request. But if you go in there and you say, I want all the emails with all these keywords, better to just tailor it and be specific. And then.
And you said that's on the Moms for Liberty website.
That is.
Okay, that sounds like a very valuable resource.
Yes. Yes. I find that really best too.
Yeah. I mean, because same thing, like, imagine having 10 parents, in the area, asking for information. It's
Right.
going to make them understand, like, this is not only serious from a legality point of view with their interactions with the campaign, but like, they broke policy.
Right.
Didn't do that. And did the school board know, right? So like, that's the other thing, is like, the superintendent works for the school board. Like,
Yes, true.
and so what's the accountability there? Like, that's the next thing, like, write the school board. Hey,
Right. Yeah. No, that's all wonderful information.
Yep. And so I'm going to share. So here's an example. If you go to the website portal, then you getting this right. So resources for parents. There's resources for candidates and all that, but for parents, so under here, there's tons of resources.
Oh, I
Wow.
did just see the FOIA thing. Yep, FOIA requests. I
Yep.
haven't been on that site in a while.
There you go.
Yeah.
And look at
Oh, it is with Meg.
Well, we're gonna
one block.
FOIA with Meg.
And how to submit.
Yep.
Then if you have any questions, legal questions, we also work with these legal groups, plus there's other groups like the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty in Wisconsin. So it's not limited to these groups.
There's a lot. I mean, there's even just a lot of ways to get out into the public, writing a letter to the editor, just different avenues of awareness.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be anxious from here now to see what happens with Virginia. I mean, we are really looking at a candidate who's as far left as you can possibly get. And I just have these visions of if she does win, Virginia becoming the next California. And I just think this is such an important election.
Yeah, or Illinois. I mean, it's dire. We are in a dire situation here. They've run her as moderate as they can. It's absolutely insane. It's terrifying.
And Virginia had been in the headlines, like Loudoun County, because they are ignoring Trump's executive orders and they're maintaining policies that allow males into girls' bathrooms and locker rooms policies that are based on gender identity rather than biological sex and biological reality. And
we're going to see a whole lot more of that if she wins.
Right. Well, and it's been happening. I mean, it was happening during Youngkin's election with the sexual assault and rape again in Loudoun County at Stonebridge, where they, just kind of like took the trans identifying kid and just moved him to a different high school. And the superintendent was aware. I think they're new superintendents from Virginia Beach, I think.
Really?
Yeah, that
interesting.
They hired in Loudoun.
Wow. Okay.
So Spanberger voted against the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act of 2023. She has campaigned to redefine child abuse to include parents that don't affirm their child's chosen gender identity, so-called gender identity.
I mean, that's the same with Elizabeth Guzman, who's running against Ian Lovejoy in Prince William County. I mean, she wanted to set up like a tip line to arrest parents, who were, kind of, I think, I can't remember if it was during COVID mandate type stuff, but just, it's incredible.
I mean, that's wild. I know she voted no to the Locke and Riley Act too.
Yes.
She opposes voter ID laws.
This is the same party that voted down any of the SAGE laws.
Wow.
And
they worked so hard to try to get away from it's like job security and that's they want to get away from culture war issues as much as they can, but I have kids here in Virginia and that's what they're weaponizing against them. And so just cannot let up.
I love that.
I think it's a good reminder that this is a white female candidate running against a Black candidate, former Marine. She would be the first Black governor of Virginia and Black female governor. And yet all of the progressives, all of these left organizations that claim to be fighting for so-called minorities, they are rejecting Winsome Sears, who's brave. She came here with nothing, absolutely nothing, built a life for herself, loves America.
The most diverse ticket in Virginia right
Literally. Served in our military. I mean,
veterans, first Black female. John Reed, is in a gay marriage. Jason Yaris is Cuban immigrant. Like it is the most diverse ticket in Virginia.
Absolutely.
The Republican ticket.
Well, and then, they have to bring Obama in. Isn't he flying in today and speaking tomorrow?
Yeah, he's been doing
Norfolk,
a
yes.
heavy lift. The Clintons were here, I think.
Oh my goodness. It's just so funny. They have to bring all these people in.
Yeah.
Kinda here.
Wasn't
I'm getting
Obama
some
just
videos.
telling people, like, he was just scolding Black men for not voting for, the Black candidate, aka Kamala Harris, and now he's coming here to tell people not to vote for the Black lady. What the heck?
Crazy.
Yes, they always have to bring in at the very end. They'll bring in Obama, hoping that will help. What really, Winsome Sears is being outspent in a way that is astronomical.
I want to say right now, Abigail's campaign has brought in, she's at like 65 million compared to Winsome is like 30, 35. And the outside contributions are,
from the billionaires, from all the
oh yeah,
billionaires.
Jay Pritzker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think the Association of Teachers that yep.
Surprise, she backs a redistricting push so that she will further.
That's what's happening right now, right? Yeah. Isn't that the special session right now that they're pulling Winsome in for? While she should be, campaigning.
Yep. They want to make Virginia bluer. They are going to redraw lines, even though the Supreme Court is hearing a case right now and going to make a call, and hopefully the right call, about redistricting based on race in order to get more what they would call equitable districts. That's what they've done in Wisconsin. That's what they've done in Illinois. They redraw until it's till it's blue.
And that affects everything. I know, Lydia, you are really passionate about school safety. I know we've talked about that a little bit. In Fauquier County, we do have armed SROs at all of our schools. And so, like, what does that look like? Someone commented recently, like, why did Winsome take a picture with an AK-47 during her last campaign? And like, they are just so adamantly against the Second Amendment and just citizens being able to arm ourselves and be a first line of defense in our schools. Like it's just the trickle down for what will happen, in our state is unimaginable.
This is so serious. I'm just so ready to figure out who, get to the end here. We're almost there, and see who wins and what we're going to be looking at, because this is life-changing stuff for Virginians.
I'm going to play the clip we were talking.
So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly and say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences, who's had to work harder and do more and overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land, and is putting forward concrete proposals to directly address the things that are vital in our neighborhoods and our communities.
I just got Kamala Harris vibes from him. I know he was talking about her, but it
like the words,
like get to the point.
Right, it's like the longest, like, let's just, but it's so
I'm
crazy.
just trying
like,
to follow.
My lived experience was nothing like President Trump's, right? Like, I didn't grow up like him in a high rise and on Fifth Avenue or whatever the thing is, but like, that wasn't going to keep me from voting for him.
Right. Oh, they give us endless content, don't they?
I know, it's true. Yeah, so I'll be looking. I thought Obama's visit already happened, but now I can't wait.
I believe he flies in. Today's Friday, right? Today. and then I believe he speaks tomorrow. Do you think I should go tomorrow?
You guys keep talking. My battery died. I just
Okay. Can we edit this
Yeah,
out?
where is he speaking? Where is it at? I don't even know.
I think it's ODU.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
well,
it's
yeah.
at ODU.
I mean, it's gonna be
Their
that
big
close.
convention center. I don't know. I kind of want to go, although I don't know how easy that would be. Pull a Alex Stein.
Seriously, like I don't know, whatever happened up in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, we need that to happen here over this weekend.
Yeah, for sure.
You're gonna like call in Alex has some free time on his hand too, right? Didn't he end his show? He had it filmed his last show, so he's probably available.
Oh my goodness, yes, he should. Yeah, he needs to get here. That's funny. Oh goodness.
I don't know what she's doing. Well, I don't know. What's your update with the school safety? I mean, that's what.
Okay, so we're gonna edit this out, right? Like this is just candid.
I think so.
I think
don't
so
know.
too.
Do you want
I
to
know it
pause
says live, but-
Scarlett?
Yeah, I can edit it out.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
So Isle of Wight is now going to be implementing, metal detectors. They're going to be taking school security more seriously. So I had lunch with one of the senators, Emily Jordan now, and she is going to write a bill. She's really going deep on this. However, she isn't going to do it until we know who's going to win, and that will determine like her wording and how she writes it. So we got the ball in motion here. I would just love for we'll see if the Democrats allow it to happen, but I would just love for Virginia to kind of set the example for the rest of the states, because the problem isn't going away.
Yeah, I go back and forth on it because I do think like having SROs present like does
It's
alleviate
huge.
a lot of that thing. So Prince William County has metal detectors.
Okay.
And some of the things that they've seen, I know recently, or I guess it was maybe it wasn't recent, it was in the last year. But they had so many staff members and security guards having to work the metal detectors and things. Like there was like there's been a couple like very serious fights and no one present to kind of like break those up. And so not that
So funding needs to be available for more employees then, right? I mean, I know like here in Isle of Wight, our SROs are covered by a grant from the sheriff's department, but like there just needs to be more in place,
right?
Funding wise.
So what, you guys live in Virginia, so what is the vibe that you're getting? Is the race close? Is it close?
I think that's a great question. Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I personally, I don't know if you would agree with me, but with the polls, I don't even look at polls anymore. I don't know. I feel like they're kind of useless. So like, the polls, those numbers tend to change. The people in my bubble, they definitely are voting Wednesday. They already have. So I genuinely have no idea what to expect.
I mean, I think we've closed some huge gaps, even probably from, 3-4 months ago, probably in the last like 6 weeks, actually. I mean, we're kind of not that Winsome isn't a strong enough candidate on her own or the ticket, but we're kind of seeing, almost like the McAuliffe moment that Youngkin had, where he basically said like parents don't matter. So between what's going on with Jay Jones, maybe this situation coming up, I definitely think that the Republican ticket has as many opportunities as they can to like build upon that. Like the momentum should be there to show up at the ballot.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm not seeing great data on Virginia at this point. I know that it's showing, there's been some polls that show that she's within the margin of error. I've not seen any polls that show her ahead, but I would be surprised even in New Jersey.
I know some of the other races though, Jason Miyares is his John Reed. I mean, how can you vote for someone that's not willing to debate or have conversations for, so I think it'll really come down to
races. So what I have seen polling that does show that the Republican candidate is polling a decent percentage pointage ahead, which for a Republican in a race like this is a big deal, even if it's just a few points.
Yeah, I'll be anxious to see. Like I said, I'm so excited for Tuesday. I'm so excited. I feel like everybody just needs to get out there. If you haven't already, get out there and vote. This is such an important election. Everybody thinks we're safe because Trump is in office, but there's so many things that are at the state level. This is so incredibly important.
So Jason Yaris was just in Fauquier County because I see a post.
Yeah, they all were. So Winsome had a rally like 5 minutes from my house, but Rowan, my middle daughter, was inducted into the National Junior Art Society, and so you know that as moms we have to make choices. But I did see Attorney General Upmeyer, which we just hosted at Summit, was there speaking, and that's at Buckland Farms. It's like a cool little local kind of farm to table. They do like a haunted trail and host like our favorite little bands. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, so they were just and so they're doing a lot of work, and I think that everyone has got to get out now. These types of elections are notoriously non-presidential. The turnout is low, and among Republicans it's even lower. And that's
one of the conversations we probably need to get to at some point is like, we don't need 6 weeks of early voting. I think it's excessive and it's insane.
Yeah, no, we don't. In New Jersey, they just started early voting last week, and I was like, wow, that's unusually short. It's probably still too long, but at least it's not the season. Instead of it's like voting season.
Yeah, I mean, we started here September 19th, I want to say, or September 20th.
So that could be before some of these big stories really
100%. Certainly before anything came out about Attorney General candidate Jay Jones.
Yes.
How many people have already voted? How many people would have changed their vote?
That's a fantastic point. I mean, you're right. So much has happened between September 19th and now.
And that's in politics, the real scandals don't break until 4 to 6 weeks before. And that's when people have already voted. And we saw that even in 2020, that the whole laptop scandal didn't break until a lot of people had already voted. And they said, if I would have known this, I wouldn't have voted for Biden. But it was too late. They voted early because the Democrats have a well-oiled get out the vote early machine. They get ballots to people. They call them, bug them, make sure that they fill them out and send them. They track them. And part of Turning Point, what they've been trying to do is replicate that at some level. And I know state and local national GOP, the same thing. They're trying to do all that, get conservatives and independents out to vote early so that they can manage it, track it, cross those people off the list, and then identify more voters, especially low propensity voters, and get them out to vote. I didn't really understand this until 2024. The importance of early voting is about the ability to say, okay, this is banked. They voted. Now we can really really
focus in on the low propensity voters. Yeah,
that's such an important fact. I mean, I don't think a lot of people do realize that. So I'm so glad that you've taken the time to explain that.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's not just and if you're worried about your vote counting, then you should be volunteering at your local, get involved in your local GOP.
Absolutely.
And volunteer, or you could volunteer as a nonpartisan. Just put your name in there so that you can watch them count votes, or you can just
check your vote. Log in and check your vote.
And you can go to just contact your county office and say that I want to be a poll watcher, or I want to watch. And they have people, usually we're trying to recruit people to go in and watch them count ballots.
Right.
So do that, be that firewall, be that person that's going to make sure that the system is fair. If you don't have trust, don't just complain about it. Do something about it.
Absolutely. And if you don't vote, you can't complain.
Yes. My dad always told me that, you don't vote, you don't get, you know what?
No,
I have a
I
hard
don't wanna
time
hear it.
these days, like, having conversations with people about anything where it's like, oh, well, I didn't vote. And it's like, okay,
Come on now.
we're done
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
done here.
And I think that people can assume too much, especially folks like us who care so much. You will have neighbors, you will have family members, friends who will say, "Oh, really? It's I didn't realize it was time to vote." And you're like, "What? You don't know? How do you not know?" Just you can't assume that everyone is like you. If you're watching this, you're probably someone that's going to go vote. But
I
you
know
can't.
my Facebook has definitely just become like a partisan, like,
I feel the same. I know people are so sick of me, but I don't care.
I don't care either. I don't
Yeah.
care.
So your own, but sometimes my own family members, I call them like, oh, especially especially when it's not a presidential election.
Right.
Yeah, and we have elections every year. There are no years off in Virginia.
And I would imagine that the statistics remain the same. Less than 30% will get out and vote for a non-presidential. Sometimes it goes as low as 20%. I just looked up because I was talking about New Jersey yesterday. It's 13% in New York City. So this mayor's election, traditionally it's about 13 to 20% vote. So if all we'd have to do is just get a very small portion of folks that voted for Trump in 2024 just to get out and beat the Democrats at this and get out and vote. And now we're talking about this. The only chance when this airs, the only chance that you're going to have in Virginia is on Tuesday, vote. Go
That's
vote.
the way to get there.
And bring people with you, make phone calls. Don't assume that your kids, if they're over 18, don't assume that they voted. Make sure that your parents, your grandparents, get them to the polls. Just make some calls. It's really worth it. If you just get 5 extra people, 10 extra people, that's a lot.
Absolutely.
It'll add up. So that's all that we can do is just get those votes out. And so to wrap up, what on this topic, and then I just want to talk a little bit about Moms for Liberty Joyful Warriors Summit, something happier. But what is your message, Lydia, to your fellow Virginians?
Well, I kind of touched on it earlier, but my message would be this candidate, Abigail Spanberger, is as far left as you can possibly get. I have a daughter. She's 8. I can't imagine her being in a locker room with another male and our governor approving of that. Look at California. Okay. Look at all of these, leftist states. Okay. People are moving out. People are miserable. And Virginia could turn into that. And this election is so incredibly important. So find a way to get out and vote. And like Scarlett said, get your people, make sure that your kids and, grandparents, get them to the polls, get them to vote, because we're facing what could be a life-changing thing here.
And your message, Jamie, to your fellow.
I think I really echo Lydia on that. It's incredible to even consider, right, that our fellow Virginians would vote for someone who thinks that a boy can be a girl. I mean, baseline, when we're talking about just the lowest level of common sense that I'm expecting out of my fellow Virginians is that we would not elect someone who thinks that boys can be girls and who thinks that pedophiles should be able to self-identify into any space. I mean, that's minimum. So
can you believe we even have to say that? No. Can you believe we even have to verbalize this? No. This is where we are in 2025.
This is where we are. And we've seen so many things come to light. And, I'm just hoping that we stay on this trajectory of just standing for truth and asking more of our government, and so.
I love that.
Go to the polls.
Yep.
And I am putting up, where to follow. So on Instagram, like I said, follow Lydia at Conservative Barbie 2.0.
Thank you.
And then for Jamie, follow Jamie on X. And there's
don't follow me on Instagram.
We got to work on Instagram some more. But so now we could talk a little bit about the Joyful Warrior Summit. What was you are first, Lydia, it's the first time you have ever attended a Moms for Liberty Summit. What were your impression of the summit and the people?
I think, sorry, I don't want to cut in, but Lydia, you had planned to come.
Well,
already.
here's the thing. I had been working in Virginia about, with a senator about making real change. I had spoken at my school board meeting here in Isle of Wight County. I had implemented some change and I was just on a high from it. I'm like, I'm actually getting things done. And I don't know how, I don't remember how, but I saw Moms for Liberty had an event in Orlando and I was looking at the speakers and I thought, I have to be there. I have to. And so I decided I was going to go regardless, but I wanted to get involved. And I just started praying about it really hard. Like, I mean, I don't know. I felt so called to be there. And I had filled out a little form to possibly start a chapter in Isle of Wight. And, I just started trying to kind of like reach out. I know James O'Keefe. I saw he was speaking, so I reached out to him to see if he had any contacts at Moms for Liberty, and he did. He had connected me with Alexandra actually after I had spoken with you, Jamie. But one night I remember you texted me. You said you were Jamie with Moms for Liberty, and I was so happy. You had invited me to come speak, and I was going to go either way. But so once you invited.
Yeah, isn't that fun? Isn't that exciting?
Yes.
Yeah, and it kind of happened just because I was having a conversation with Rebecca, actually, who works on our interview team, and was talking to her about how we were working through, kind of having this content creator space. And she was like, oh, well, did you know Lydia Schaffer is going to be there? And I said, no, I didn't know that. And she said, well, she actually applied to be a chapter chair. And so again, like, it's just like the connecting of all of it. And so I just shot her a text. I was like, I'm gonna text her and and you were so like excited and gracious and here we are.
Here we are. Yes. And then I went and I met you in person. And the moment I met you, I was like, oh my gosh, she's so sweet. And then same with you, Scarlett. I had been watching you leading up to the event and I was just thinking, gosh, she's so cool. And then I met you in person and I feel like you're my best friend now. And I don't know, just being there, and I just love the energy from all the moms, all of you guys that I got to meet. It was just such a kind and supportive group. And I'm just so grateful I got to go and speak.
Well, we were glad to have you. Thank you for that. It's really nice to say that we were, to kind of say that kind is one of the nicest things that you could say.
You are.
Because it's the opposite of the.
Oh, I know. I've read everything.
Kind is not usually a word ascribed in the media, in the mainstream media about Moms for Liberty, but it's the truth. That open, that tolerant, listening to other people's point of views, that we weren't gathered around a fire tossing books into it. No,
and I would think that you would find most of us I would say not everyone, but most of us are in that more libertarian mindset that, it's not for me, but like I respect that for you. So I hope that that's kind of what comes across at Summit, and especially, I know we had this conversation after, but more of identifying the problems and like connecting you with people that are going to be able to help you. Like we really do want to help you bring everything that you learn back to your community and your state to say like, okay, what am I going to do now? What can I change? Who can I contact?
Absolutely. And I love that. And I just feel like you guys are women that actually have a goal, and you care, and you're brave, and you're standing up for something that actually matters. And there's just something to be said for that. And I just feel right at home with you guys.
That's sweet. Thank you. And
I mean it.
My goal for the panel and kind of vision was to talk to our members and those attending the summit about the importance of engaging and being involved in social media. We have, rightfully so, we have a lot of members and people that support Moms for Liberty that, because of what happened between 2020 and 2024, are adverse to social media. They closed a lot of their social media accounts. They aren't familiar with X. There may be a few just on Facebook, but they're not on Instagram. And they kind of look at the new technology as that's too much. I can't figure that out. And if I can figure it out, you can figure it out, because I am not tech savvy. I had been watching a lot of YouTube videos and talking to my teenage and young adult children, and that was kind of the message that on that panel were even Alex Stein, were people that didn't think one day I'm going to be an influencer. Accidental activists, people that found, hey, I kind of have a gift. I think I'm going to pursue this and make change that way.
Well, it is kind of the way of the world now, right? Like that, how are you going to get your message out? Like if you have something to say, how are you going, what's the best, quickest, fastest, most effective way to get it out? And Lydia has absolutely cornered that market.
I'm so passionate about it and I love it. And it's just so incredible to me that you can take this device right here, record a quick video and get it out to millions of people. I mean, it's an incredible time we're living in. It's so powerful to be able to do that. And
there's some video of you where you're like, and I'll pull up where you're.
This will be a surprise.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, be a surprise. We'll share screen. You look really good. So it's kind of, I think I've looked like this on but here you are in your car. Hold on, and I'll pull it up.
Scarlett is the best.
Yes, here you are in your car, baseball hat on, and I have something to say. So I'm pulling out my phone and I'm going to say it.
I'm ranting. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I rant about things that are important and things that matter.
We love a rage and engage.
Yes. Maybe it is rage bait. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. We love it. And you look hot.
This
you
is
look
real life
like
and y'all need to hear it.
But
I will say, I do try to
like
get it out quickly though. I do try to make the video as fast as possible and say it as quickly as possible. And I try to cut it to where there's no filler, there's no in between time. Like, let's get the message out there quickly because people are going to scroll so quickly. Like, let's just have a good hook and let's get the message out there fast.
So, and that's something that I'm learning to do, because if you wait, the story is old, someone else will talk about it and you'll miss your window.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
And we're trying to get the most amount of information to like the busiest demographic of people, moms. Like it just
right. Just say what you got to say. Get it out.
We'll just like cut to it.
Right. And I don't have the right light. I don't have perfect lighting. Okay. I mean, there's no perfect lighting here. I mean, I'm in my car. Okay. Like there's nothing fancy you need.
It's true.
I mean, Scarlett has better equipment than I do.
Scarlett always has a light. Like a light hates to see her coming.
She's got this down.
I do. I was actually really funny. I now carry this in my purse with me everywhere.
I love it.
Because taking pictures, it's like, oh wait, light, hold the light.
Yeah, light in your car. We always joke with our friend Shannon Adcock. She runs Awake Illinois. She's just so passionate, such an advocate, and some of the videos that she records in her car. So we always have to joke with her about car light. I think she got some haters about it. Like, why aren't you wearing your seatbelt? And she's like, I'm parked in the car. That's why.
Well, Scarlett called me out. I posted that picture with James O'Keefe from the summit, and she's like, "Oh, you needed my light or something." I did too. It was really dark.
It was fine.
I know. It's like, so I was running around. So around my daughter's birthday party, I'm holding the light and everyone's like, you're crazy. And then I show them, and they're like, oh, I need one of those.
Yes.
It's world of difference.
It does make totally difference.
And they're probably cheaper on Amazon.
And I should probably appreciate good light more in my own professional business as a photographer. But I love like the dark, blurry. I mean, I think I posted every blurry photo I took from Summit just because
I love it.
It's real.
We all have our own photography, videography styles. It's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, that's really cheap. Keep those on hand.
I have one. Okay.
And I've got like a circle one. I've got like, I think I've got like every version. It's just remembering to charge them. So need a
Scarlett,
to charge them.
I don't mean to like get off topic here, but speaking of your light, do you have like an Amazon storefront link page? Because I mean, you could totally link your light. You could link all your outfits. I mean, at the summit, everything you wore, I was like, where did you get
Like
that?
to-
Oh, I
yeah,
should.
You need to start linking your stuff
I
because
should do
I
that.
would buy it all.
Okay. All right. That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Put that on your list.
Yes. And then maybe I get sponsors.
Yes.
I'll do
Sky's
those
the limit
unboxing videos. Oh, look
Yeah,
my
you
kids.
can start wearing a baseball cap everywhere you go. That's so
Oh, look
amazing.
what I have here.
Yes.
That's a good idea, though.
That was
That is a
good.
good
And
idea.
we, as far as just back to Summit, the content creator like that, like you added a lot for us too. I mean, not only did our chapter chairs and members like get to interact with you, and I don't know if it feels like that for you guys, like that you're stars or celebrities, but like they really felt so special getting to interact and take pictures, and then also really just kind of giving or kind of orchestrating the opportunity to like go on Real America's Voice and like do interviews from people. Like, I don't know, that's the part I love. Like, I'm a character, and so anytime we can bring kind of like all these different worlds together of, you might want to call them influencers or content creators, but they're also, you have a skill and a passion, and so like uniting on that is only going to make our movement stronger.
I love it. And ultimately, we're all fighting the same fight. So I love that you are able to bring people together like that. It's so valuable and it's so appreciated, at least from me.
And as a content creator, and we spend, we do the shorts on Instagram, but you can do streams like this, and you can take your time. You can spend 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, and pick the people you want to talk about or talk to. And that gives a lot of opportunity for regular people and real stories. It's more real and authentic and local. It can really pertain to some national, but it could be really local. So you can talk to the people in your county. And, how often do people get to turn on the news and hear about what's going on in your area, in your specific
Or a story you hear and you want to, I can't tell you, Tyler O'Neill from the Daily Signal will send me a story and say, hey, do you have a mom that lives here about, and knows about this? And I'm like, sure do.
Happens so often that people will say like, is there a Moms for Liberty member in this state, in that state, in this area, in this city? And we connect, and then you're platformed. So there's a lot of benefits to being a part of this organization. It's about what Jamie said, the connecting, the resources, and there's more power in numbers. And when you get out in your school board and you're wearing Moms for Liberty and I'm a part of Moms for Liberty. So it's you and 130,000 people, moms behind you. So you're not alone. And that's the number one thing, that so many people can feel like, I felt so alone. I didn't think anyone understood. And I came to this summit and I realized there are, hundreds, thousands of other people that have experienced exactly what I've experienced, and offer comfort, advice, and friendship. I
love it.
Yes. So I think that's a good way to end things.
Yeah.
And we'll do this again. Hopefully there is a happy news on Tuesday night.
Yeah. Pray for Virginia.
Yes, but
I'm
for
Lydia.
now,
I'm like, let's just get to what?
We just get there. Let's just get this.
Polls close on Tuesday. Like,
yep.
Just want to know.
Me too.
If you live in Virginia, go vote, and go vote for Team Sanity.
Yeah.
Vote for Winsome Sears. And who's the lieutenant governor again?
John Reed is running for lieutenant governor, and then Jason Miyares is in his second term running to be attorney general. And then vote down ballot for school board candidates. And if you don't know who to vote for, look for a Moms for Liberty. It's our House races this year. Scarlett, I'm going to send you like our schedule of elections every year. You're going to flip at just how intense it is. So there's a lot. So there's House seats. There's local year is Senate, I want to say. Wow. So a lot of races. There's a lot of races. So vote down. Don't just go vote for governor. Call your local or vote up. If you are just going to vote for someone in your school board, vote. That's true. That's true. People sometimes you're right. Sometimes people are only voting for their school board member, and they're
they're kind of like, I'm so sick of politics and I'm sick
Right.
of both parties. But you know what? You'll help that school board member a whole lot if you vote up, because if Winsome Sears is governor, there'll be a lot more protection for your school
And we
board.
need to flip the House and the Senate. So, I mean, that's kind of the place that Virginia's been in, is we didn't have two big waves. We actually did not at all. And so while we have had a Republican majority here, you know, there's just been a lot of veto power because a lot of
Yeah.
and then a lot of bills that just died on the floor that we needed to pass. So
Yeah, they don't get passed, and so Glenn Youngkin can't sign them. So you can have a governor, but if the bills aren't getting to him to sign, or you could have a majority and they have the bills, but then that's in Wisconsin, then you have a governor that vetoes everything. So you got to get that alignment together.
yeah, we need to get the alignment. We need like super majority.
Realign. All right. Well, praying for Virginia. Thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you for having
And we will talk again very
Yes.
soon.
I
All
can't
right.
wait. Thanks,
All right.
guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
That
Thanks for
went
having me
good.
on. Hopefully I didn't sound like a big dummy.
No, you sounded great.
Is it still live?
Give me death. My friends, I choose liberty. I choose liberty. The bottom line is, here we are again, standing in the middle. And we are not allowed to stay there. We must choose the path of light. We must go down the path of right. We must go down the path of opportunity. And that is what tomorrow is all about. Tomorrow is all about getting more votes than the other person. Tomorrow is all about electing Winsome Earl Sears, your next governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Tomorrow is all about electing John Reed, your next lieutenant governor. Tomorrow is all about electing Jason Miar as your next attorney general. Tomorrow is all about sending Ian Lovejoy back to Richmond to represent all of you. Tomorrow is about right and light. But in order to win, we got to get the vote out. Right now, this thing is so close. It's like, well, two NASCAR races coming around the corner. And Abigail thought she was out front. And here comes Winsome on the outside. Here comes Winsome on the outside. And Winsome's scraping a little paint as she goes by. She says, here I come. But Winsome will only finish if we get out and vote. And so how many of you already voted? Goodness gracious, that's awesome. But there's a bunch of you, I don't see your hands up. And that means you are going to be in the middle unless you get on the path and vote. And for those of you that have voted, I have a moment for you. As governor, I'm about to knight you. I didn't know I could do that. I made it up. I'm about to knight all of you as knights of winning the election tomorrow. You are about to have a special role as knights of winning the election tomorrow, and your role is to get 10 friends out to vote. And therefore, I, Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, do knight you all of winning the election tomorrow to get 10 friends out to vote. Finally, my friends, I ask all of you to pray. Pray tonight, pray tomorrow, pray all day. Pray for God's mercies to be on these candidates. Pray to have hedge of protections wrapped around them. Pray to take the scales off of voters' eyes so that they can see truth. Pray that they will see the truth of electing someone like Jay Jones as something we can never do in the Commonwealth of Virginia. This is an election about decency, and Jason Miar is such a good man, and he must be our Attorney General. Pray for John Reed. Pray for John Reed that he wins tomorrow and that he will stand in front of that Senate, and when he has to cast that tie-breaking vote, he will always cast a vote on behalf of common sense and conservative values. Pray for John Reed to win tomorrow. And my friends, pray for Winsome Sears. This woman is a Marine. This woman is a small business owner. This woman is a mother and a grandmother. This woman is a fighter. This woman understands what it means to serve, and she is ready to do the job on day one. My friends, let's go win tomorrow and elect Winsome Earl-Sears our next governor. God bless you, and God bless the Commonwealth of Virginia.
America!